Wartales, £14 in the Steam sale. I'm not sure what it is now or if it's still in the sales, but this is a diamond in the rough, I would call it. This is a really small developer team. It's not a huge AAA game. Some of the animations can be a bit jank, but the game overall is bloody amazing. So let's get into it. £14 in the sale. I don't know if it'd be worth the full price because if you add in all the DLC, there is a shit ton of DLC. I think there's like 8 DLC that are all going from £8 to £10, but some of them, from what I can tell looking on the Steam reviews, are better than the others. I'll start with the graphics. The graphics are good. For a tiny dev team, this actually looks brilliant. The animations don't always look 100%, but that doesn't really bother me. As far as gameplay goes, that's where it bothers me. Now, as far as the basics of the gameplay consist of you starting with 4 mercenaries. Now you could start off with some farmers, some pirates, some mercenaries, some escaped convicts. It really depends who you want to pick at the beginning, and you pick your traits, negatives. Some will come with positives, but if you want loads of positive traits, you are going to have to pick some negative traits to go along with that, but they're minor, they're nothing really major. Or you can just go without any starting traits whatsoever. I actually went with the farmers, and you start off with 4 and you have to feed your mercenaries, you have to pay their wages, you get them new equipment, and each mercenary is tied to the weapon they use. So an archer will always be an archer. You can't have an archer that, switches between a dagger and an archer. He will always be an archer or a crossbowman. As far as weapons and equipment go, you can also buy a pony to help you carry the weight and stuff like that. My pony's called Dog, just because I wanted a horse called Dog. I now have one called Cat as well, so that is really confusing. I have a horse, 2 horses, one's called Dog and one's called Cat. You can even capture slaves, or as I like to call it, Pokemon in real life. You can just wrap somebody up in a rope, chuck them over your shoulder, and they now work for you. You can even buy a little whipping post, tie them in your camp, and they now work for you as a free worker, shall we say. You can capture wolves, bears, have them work alongside you, and essentially play an adult version of Pokemon. You really can just capture people and force them to work with you, and they won't be happy about it, but they're a slave. What are they going to do? Not much they can do. But you can capture wolves, bears, pigs. I did have a pig called Mr. Piggly. Unfortunately, he did meet his demise in a rather brutal way. So I did do a second restart, so I've now restarted again. But you need at least a good mix of men. You don't want to all have 5-6 tanks or 5-6 damage dealers, because you'll just get shredded in combat. So you want to have a nice mix of players, really. Like you want a rogue, an archer, a crossbowman, a tank, a damage dealer, and try and mix it up like that. I recommend having no more than 8 on your first playthrough. Just try and stick with 8, because if you try and go for more, you have to pay so much wages and food, and you also have to, like I say, feed them, clothe them, and you play as a top-down view. I'll run the background footage as I'm talking, but you play as a top-down view, and it's kind of like think of it like a Final Fantasy / Pokemon. You're out in the world walking along with your little troop, and then boom, you'll get jumped by some bandits or some animals, and you have to fight them. There's plenty of difficulty options. The combat boils down to turn-based system, so it starts off very basic. It's just you hit them, they hit you, goes back and forth, and it's pretty simple. I thought, oh well, this is pretty basic, but no, it gets way harder down the line. I don't own any of the DLC, so I can't really speak about that. There's DLC where you can own a tavern. There's DLCs where you can own different businesses. There's DLCs where you can get a pirate ship and just go to new lands. So I mean, they do sound really cool, but I really don't want to spend like sort of £50 on DLC when I'm still learning how to play the base game. Now, every class, like I say, uses a specific weapon, so it's really important that you have a mixed variation of your team. I personally love this game, and really shows what an indie dev can do, unlike these other crap that's coming out right now with EA and Ubisoft and all the rest of them pumping out this crap that just has no effort or love going into this. But this tiny little dev team is really, sort of showing the way, just like Baldur's Gate in a way. Well, don't get that confused. I'm not saying this game is like Baldur's Gate, but you know what I mean. I'm currently trying to capture a ghost wolf. I really want this ghost wolf. They're really cool. They're like these blue shiny wolves that live out in the woods, and I really want to capture one of them, but they're just a bit elusive right now. All your soldiers have professions too, so there's miners, blacksmiths, woodcutters, alchemists, tinkerers. A tinkerer is just a little tinkerer there. He's that just means you can create fish hooks and torches, little bits and bobs. It's nothing major really. The blacksmith is the one who creates the weapons and whatnot, and you can switch in between them, and you level up as you go along with your professions too. So don't worry if you mess up, just do a reroll, start again. There's also no magic in this game, so don't be expecting to be casting Harry Potter magic fireballs everywhere. This is still fantasy elements, so yeah, there are like creatures and fantastical creatures and monsters and zombies and tombs to explore. But there won't be any actual casting lightning bolts from your fingertips and stuff like that. So that may turn some people off, but I actually quite like it. For some reason, most people talk with a Welsh accent. I have no idea why everybody's Welsh, but there are some Northerners thrown in there for good mix too. But I'll move on to the bad points. There's not really that many. Most of it is just kind of a glowing review, and I'm pretty shocked that not many people know about this game. But I'll move on to the bad points, and there's not that many, like I say, so let's crack on with it. Now, as far as bad points go, there's a lot of DLC, so I'm not saying that DLC is good or bad. It can be good for different games, but there's a lot of it, and I feel like you are missing out a lot of the game if you don't have the DLC, and none of that was really in the sale when I bought the base game for £14, so I would count that as a negative. Also, I imagine if you do keep re-rolling and playing 100 hours of this, it's going to get boring, but the fact that you can even get 30-40 hours out of the base game is pretty much a glowing review for me. And no one's talking about this, no one's playing it. I haven't seen it on any of the main sites. Also, it can be a bit janky at times. Like, there are someone will do a death animation, some cool looking little stab through their jaw or whatever with their shank, and you will miss it because a building suddenly pops up in front of you. Overall, I'm about 25 hours in. I have done a re-roll once because I well and truly buggered up my team because I didn't know how to play the game, but that's okay. That's you just re-roll, start again. There are two options. You can do region locked, which means when you go into the next area, it'll be all high level and you'll have to level up before you go, or you can do it as Skyrim and other things like that do, where you level up as you go along, which means you can just go into different areas how you want. So right now I'm playing it as open world, not region locked, but it gets 2 thumbs up from this bloke anyway. I definitely would say it's worth the £14. Is it worth the if you had all the DLC, 100 quid? Probably not, no, but it's a great game. It's a diamond in the rough, and it's better than most of this AAA shite that's getting pushed out the door right now. So yeah, Wartales, definitely worth a go, worth a look. And thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I still don't have a fucking catchphrase. I'll see you again soon, guys. See ya.